So when I got the job on death row, I mean, obviously I looked at it like I could make some money back there. Those were the guys who had their dates. When they got their date and they were back there, they weren't even the same anymore. Half of them wouldn't even talk sometimes. And then there was a ritual with those guys the week that they were getting executed. They started telling us, hey, y'all watch out because we're bringing a dude out to take him to Huntsville to be executed. Even the guards that were taking him, when they put him in that van, I overheard them saying that they knew he was innocent. I looked at him and he just looked at me like, and I'll never forget that look, but yeah.
Is it true in Texas prisons that there's no air conditioning?
Yeah, they have these things now called swamp coolers, but they're only like on certain pods, on certain units, and it's like this big old like device, I don't know what it is, and it'll suck in the heat and then it'll blow out like half-ass cool air and it makes the pod extremely humid. I was never able to have one in where I stayed at. I fell out of place one time and was in one, and it didn't really make a difference if you stood in front of it or around it. It would kind of cool that area, but no, there's no AC at all. And I don't remember, I know this used to be true, but I don't know if it still is. So like when Texas would sue to get air conditioning, I think them in Louisiana, I think they're kind of in the same system. So no, say Louisiana would sue to get the air conditioning because you can actually look this up. It was in 2014. It was when I was back in prison and I was at that place Hutchins unit in Dallas. It was called Club Hutchins. And I want to say on the art, so they had like 6 people that were TDC guards that were on the Dallas news. They had all their bodies blacked out, their voices distorted because they were testifying against TDC on the horrific heat conditions because of officers passing out and dying and just passing out with heat stroke, and they were scared for their identities were being sealed even in the case because they were talking about how TDC is a gang. And but like say Louisiana had got it passed, because I saw it on the news, that's why I'm bringing this up. I think Louisiana won their suit to get it passed, but then Texas appealed it because that means they were going to have to get ACs and their stuff. So long story short, there is no ACs in Texas. There are a couple, I think the newer units with swamp coolers. And in the summertime, like especially on the old units, like the red brick units, like that clay, it holds heat. Those walls will sweat. Like we would, on closed custody and medium custody, we would flood the cell and lay it like on the concrete and lay on the water. But like on those red brick units, you could throw water on the wall during the summertime, it'll sizzle. Like that's how hot it gets in there, bro. It's no joke. And then they'll try to make you be like fully dressed with that stiff, raw cotton outfit, sweating your nuts off. Like it sucks.
Do any inmates die of heat exhaust?
Yeah, hell yeah. Every year of heat exhaustion. When I was at Hutchins, a couple dudes died during the summertime from heat exhaustion. The one dude, he had asthma, I think, and his parents sued TDC. And TDC settled out with them like fairly quickly because it was on the news.
And the corruption in the TDC, Texas Department of Corrections, it sounds rampant.
Dude, it's so bad. Like even so when I was there the second time, I was at Torres unit. So there's a couple of the bigger like units that are close to us, like McConnell and Connolly and stuff like that. So I was going on medical chain. And when you go on medical chain, you got to go down to this medical hospital called John Seeley in Galveston. And we were picking dudes up from McConnell and Connolly, and their water was shut off. It's still happening right now on those units and some other units, very bad. Like I could just shoot you the articles. They're keeping their water cut off. They're not even going to chow, bro. Like they're feeding them those Johnny sandwiches. They're supposed to like turn the water on so they could flush the toilet. They're leaving their toilets full for like weeks at a time. My buddy, who I can introduce you to, my boy Justin Smith, good Muslim brother, ex-Blood Gang member. He's got stomach problems still to this day. He had boils coming out of his skin from the bacteria of them smelling feces, like in their toilet, throwing a towel over the toilet because they're refusing to flush the water, like turn on the water so they can flush the toilets. And they're supposed to let them go outside to use the porta potties, and they're not letting them do it. It's inhumane, dog. Like, I am a prison advocate to a certain, you're going to lock somebody up. You're not changing them by treating them that way.
Why would they refuse to turn the water on?
I heard they were selling water to the city. I heard there was water shortages out there, and I heard that they were selling the water. I don't know how that would work. Obviously, something is going on. Why aren't you turning the water on? Like, something is going on. So somebody is making some money somewhere, right? In that prison for profit scam. Like, because even the commissary, almost all the commissary items are produced in Huntsville. So it's these people that are over the prison system who are financing the commissary. Look at the phone company. I think I was reading yesterday, I think they said the phone company, Securus, makes like $4 billion a year or $7 billion a year off the call rates, the expensive money.
How much does it cost for a phone call?
I don't know how much it costs a minute. I know I put $50 a month on the phone for my homeboy Fleabag. So, and that goes through pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he calls me once a week, and we don't even stay on the phone a full 20 minutes. He'll call me, hey, bro, woo, and I'm like, all right, bet. So
times tens of thousands of inmates times 50 a month. It's a lot of dough.
That's a lot.
What are they charging for a cell phone call in there?
Oh, if somebody wants to use the Jag?
Mm-hmm.
It depends, because dudes rent it out. It depends on the person who's got the Jag, really. Dudes, they rent them out usually. They'll rent it out to somebody to use it. Or I mean, like, I know when my homeboy had a Jag, I never touched those because you're just risking too much with the Jag. I know he charged, I think just to make a phone call was like $5 or $10, and you weren't on the phone that long. You're talking about like a couple of minutes.
How easy is it to get a Jag, a cell phone, into prison?
Too easy. I mean, bro, you got to think the guard, she or he is only making so much money a month. They probably got 2-3 kids. You got a dude in there that's got money and is willing to pay them. They're bring it in. They don't check them. They do and they don't. So if they bring that Jag in, it's just too easy, bro. It's way too easy. I'm gonna go ahead and should I? Okay, dog. Okay, they already got busted, so it ain't like I'm ruining nothing. It fucked them up. So check this out. So my homeboy, his fall partner, they were both on America's Most Wanted. This is the last time I was in prison. So they have a deal in there called the craft shop. So like a lot of the TDC guards, like they'll get, like you can go up there like as an inmate and say like be a leather worker. You can make saddles, this, that. You can sell it on the streets. It's all legal. So my homeboy, his homeboy, and I never knew how they were doing it until after they got busted. Because even my homeboy, who was my right-hand man, Harry, he's back locked up now. He was so quiet that he didn't even tell me how his fall partner was doing this. So his fall partner got a dude in the craft shop who did airbrush. So you know those little air compressors? So the company that the craft shop went through, that was approved by the prison system that they could order supplies through. My homeboy's fall partner, supposedly his people were like big time, I don't know, they were like bikers or cartel or some he had told me, I can't remember. But I don't know if there's an article on it, but I'll look it up and see if I can find something and I'll shoot it to you. Somehow his people got a hold of the people that worked in that through that order company. Bro, he was getting those little air compressors sent in once a month, stuffed phones, bud, squares, all that. So the air compressor was stuffed full of drugs and was getting sent straight into the farm, bro.
From the company.
Yeah, from the company.
The actual company.
Yeah.
So he was able to pay somebody
On
at
the
the
outside,
company.
yeah, to shoot it in, bro. And they had the Galaxy phones, Free World Samsung Galaxies, Free World iPhone 7s. Them was down there watching porn on them. Yeah, they were they
So they were making like hundreds of thousands of dollars. I mean, that kind of is invaluable.
invaluable.
You can name your price almost.
Yeah.
Are there a lot of people hustling, selling dope from the cell phones?
I'm sure there are, but I mean, you can make moves on the streets, obviously, but the goal would be to make money in prison. Because like I told you, like those pencil sharpeners. So now they have the pencil sharpeners. Well, I don't know if they still do, but no, I don't think they sold those on Commissary. I think those came from the craft shop. They had the pencil sharpeners, the little handheld ones. They had two holes. They had one that had the bigger hole and then one that had the smaller hole. So the one that had the bigger hole, I know you could fill it up with like coke or meth or something. That was like $150. So you're talking about somebody, if they get like a ball of meth in, that's probably like $45-$50 now on the streets. You're talking about selling that little bit in a deal for $150 off a ball. They're probably making like $3,500, $4,000 off a ball. So you're talking about a zone. They get a zone of clearing now, and you're talking about breaking it down like that in the joint. Man, they're probably making $10,000, $15,000 off a zip of clear in prison. Guaranteed. That's guaranteed.
And that's like a zip of clear is like the size of a golf ball.
It's the size of a golf ball broken down. And you're talking about a female guard. She can just she can stuff that and bring it in.
And how are people getting high on meth? Are they smoking it?
Smoking it or snorting it, putting it in their coffee, stuff like that, drinking it. So
You think there's people, because, like Polonsky and what is the other facility?
Torres,
they're basically the same building. They're just segregated.
Well, Torres is a whole nother unit. So Polonsky is a max, right? A maximum security prison. There was some dude who commented on your thing talking about, I was at a super max. There ain't no super max in Texas. That ain't how that works. So that was a lie. There's only a maximum security, medium security, and minimum security. And maximum security prison, there's several of them. There's just different custody levels. Like segregation is just segregation. It's not called supermax, and death row is not called supermax. I mean, death row inmates get treated like seg inmates. You know what I'm saying? Seg inmates just might get to maybe come out and go somewhere maybe more, but they both get the same treatment. So it's no different, except for one is going to die someday and the other not. Now, Torres is a medium custody unit. It's smaller. Like Polonsky's like a 3,500 man unit. And I think Torres is like 2,000 or something. But like the biggest unit in Texas, if I'm not mistaken, is Darrington. I think Rock and D Darrington, which is a red brick. I think it's like 5,200, 5,500 man unit. So, but like Torres is a medium security unit, because if you have anything over 40 or 45 years, you're not allowed to be there. And they changed that law when I was back at Torres, because there was dudes over there with life sentences and they all got shipped off because they changed that law. So that's the only difference, is like how much time you can have on these farms,
And the death row, what unit, what prison is that located in?
That's at Polonsky in Polk County. It used to be called Terrell Unit, Terrible Terrell. Like you had like the Torres, Terrell, and Telford used to be called the Terrible T's, the 3 Terrible T's. But when they killed that black dude that I was telling you about, that innocent black dude, that dude Terrell, he the news was always there, bro. Like out in the parking lot, you could always see him.
What remind us about the black dude who got killed?
I want to say he got executed for I want to say it was a double rape and homicide. I could be wrong by the rape, but I want to say that's what it was. And later on, because the Black Panthers and I want to say it was the Black Panthers and the Nation of Islam protested. I know for a fact it was the Black Panthers of Houston, and I think it was the Nation of Islam too. They were all out on the highway, and they wound up getting his DNA tested, and I thought it was from one of the women's underwear. I think I could be wrong. I know there was a case like that, so I could be getting them mixed up. But it came out that he was innocent. And when that happened, it forced them to start doing the DNA tests on people in Texas. And then there was a gang of, like my homeboy Red Rum from Dallas. He was really, I think he was from Oakland. He was a Pyru from Oakland. And he was one of the people. So on the Dallas newspaper, they had like a strip of like mug shots basically. Red Rum was in there for a false rape. He gave his time back and went home. There was a bunch of dudes that had gave their time back and went home. There was a white dude there that was getting extorted for a molestation that he didn't even do. He was in there, that they probably f***ed him up for the rest of his life. He was in there, he was a punk, a homosexual, getting extorted and pimped out, and it came out he was innocent the whole time. They ruined his whole life.
And so that case of the innocent black guy getting executed, is that the guy that you actually saw being walked to his death?
Mm-hmm,
Tell us about that.
Well, and they bring him out, they tell you to catch the fence. And I was at a place doing something. I think I was at the law library, so I just so happened to be in that area. And so there was this group called Texas 7 who had escaped from McConnell unit, I think, or McConnell. And they're the reasons why, like, all these fences and all this security had changed so much, because before, Terrell unit was wide open. Like you could go anywhere, especially if you just had a broom. Like a broom was power because they thought you were working. So you could just go wherever you want. So I just grabbed a broom and I was mobbing because they hadn't started building gates on our unit yet. We knew they were coming. And I was over there at a place doing something. I can't remember why I was over there, but I remember they brought the van up, pulled up the van, and then they started telling us, hey, y'all watch out because we're bringing a dude out to take him to Huntsville to be executed, because they go to the Walls unit to get executed. And when they came with the escort and everything, and then they tell you to catch the wall or catch the fence, because I had told the law, I was like, oh man, I'm working right now. I'm on sidewalk crew. He's like, yeah, you're cool, Greisheimer, yeah, whatever. And then I caught the wall. And when they brought him out, I remember when he was walking and I like turned, I had my hands like this and I turned and I looked at him because the building's right here, 12 buildings right here. So he's got to go out this gate right here where that van is. And I remember when I looked at him and he looked at me, like, I told you I'm an energy person. Like I could just, man, he just like looked at me like, fuck, like you could, bro, you could feel, even the guards that were taking him, when they put him in that van, I overheard them saying that shit wasn't right. And even later on, when I did that job on death row, guards would still talk about it, and they said that they knew he was innocent.
Wow. Just based off his energy? Just
based off his energy, they just said that they knew it, that they knew he was innocent. They felt you could tell they felt bad walking him. Like you could tell that they felt bad. Like you saw it in their face. Like it was very, I can't explain the feeling or the emotion, but you could tell that they knew what they, like, everybody knew, everybody knew. Like even I knew. And then when it came out he was innocent, I was like, that's crazy, dude, that I looked at him and he just looked at me like, and I'll never forget that look, but yeah.
You know, you've seen guys get their throats slit in prison. You've seen guys bleed out, get stabbed to death by multiple inmates. But how do you rank that experience, looking into that innocent man's eyes as he's going to be executed? How do you rank that in terms of like impactful things that you saw?
I think it was like probably top one, because psychologically he's in there for something he didn't even do. And then he got put to death for something he didn't do.
How do they gas inmates in
No,
Texas?
that's the lethal injection. So it's like, could you imagine that, man? Like being in jail for something you didn't do, like, and like one of my best friends, his son got out on bond for a case that he swears up and down he didn't do, and my best friend, one of my best friends, he called me the other day. And he told me his son got out on bond. He cut the ankle monitor off and went on the run. And he didn't know where he was at. And he was like, man, I don't know what to do. And now they're dead because they were offering him 25 years. And I was like, do you think he's guilty? And he's like, no. And I was all like, can you blame him? And he's like, what do you mean? I said, have you ever been to jail before? And he like went into jail and bonded out one time for some bullshit a long time ago. He's like, but still, man. I said, bro, if you've never done nothing, if you're innocent and they're gonna put you in jail, do you think you would willingly turn yourself in? And he was like, well, they had offered him 6 years. He was talking about taking it. And I was like, because he sat in the county for almost a year with no bond. He just wanted to get on with his life. That's the up thing about the system, where they got like that 98% conviction rate, because you're not innocent until proven guilty. You're guilty until you can prove you're innocent. And unless you can get a real lawyer that's willing to go to trial and fight for your case, you're going to jail. I mean, it is what it is. Like I told him, I said, man, it is what it is. Like do you believe he did that case? He said, no. I said, then it is what it is, bro. Like I wouldn't want to go sit in jail for something I didn't do. And you're offering me 25 years. You got me up. I would have ran too. Like, catch me if you can. I'm gone, bro. And then to see, and the reason why I think like that is when I saw that dude's face, and then not even that, I saw other dudes get off of death row. Like when I had worked back there the first time on the shower crew, there was a guy back there who had been back there 35 years. And we were talking and he was like, man, Tim, I've been back here 35 years fighting this war. And then he was on the news when he got released. They released him from Huntsville from the walls, and they put a cap on the money he could sue for. You lock him for 35 years and you tell them they can only sue for, a couple 100,000 or some shit. And I mean, no million would replace 35 years, but 35 years in a cell confined, you don't get out. At one point in time in Texas, the death row inmates, I heard they had their own side of the unit on the walls where they could like go to work and stuff, but somebody that up. So they just sit in a cell all day long, bro. Like,
do they get out at all for yard?
There's an indoor rec right there, a passive rec that's shaped like a weird triangle, and it has one table, it has this thick ass pull-up bar, and that's it. And then there's an outdoor rec that's smaller than this room with a basketball goal that's like 30 feet in the air with the dead basketball. And that's it. And they're not getting no sunshine, no nothing. And by law, inmates in jail are supposed to get so many hours of sunlight a week for the vitamin D and E and shit, because it helps like with like depression and shit like that. So they just got these dudes sitting back there like, yeah, it's fun seeing him. Dude, I've had dreams about that shit. I still think about that, man. But I'm just kind of emotional like that. Like I'm a very emotional person. So like I'm not emotional like I think reckless, but I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I have a heart, and there's things in my life that affected me. And seeing a dude and seeing that walk and seeing that face, like if I could put like a flash drive to my head and pull off that image so other people could see that image, I think it would probably change a lot of people, because they're just treating the justice system like an assembly line, dude.
So then why did you accept the job that came later on death row?
Honestly, I accepted a job for like the money I can make back there, like hustling. But also number two, because like I told you, like I'm a tribalist. So like, to me, like I was the type of person in prison, and I got in trouble for this all the time. I was the type of person in prison who was always trying to get petitions going. I was always trying to get inmates to like put aside their differences and come together and like do some shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, and orchestrate some shit. Like one time, bro, we tied a sheet to the door and tied it around the bench and refused to let the laws come in the bench because they were jacking us for rec on medium custody. So we tied a sheet and tied it over there, well, to they got benches on the pods now, but they didn't used to have them. And we tied it so how the table is, and you got like the pole that goes the little ass of the table. We tied it real good there. And when they tried to like come in, we had it so they couldn't get in. And we took sheets and put them all the way across the windows and shit and stuck them up there with tape that we had got off the SSI to block out the window. And we were like, bro, if y'all don't start giving us rec, man, we're going to flood the pod. We're going to try to kick these toilets off the wall and just cost the state money so we could get rec. But then when you do stuff like that, when they come down to the pod, they'll say, oh, we'll give you what you want. We just want the person who started this, because then they're going to give that person an insinuating a riot case. So like I would always try to wire some shit up like that for us to stick together. So when I got the job on death row, I mean, obviously I looked at it like I could make some money back there, but because deep down in my heart, I'm a people's person. Like I told you in the first podcast I did with you, like they would stuff these socks. So you have A through F pod and A through F section. The lower the sections you go down, I mean, the lower the pod ranks you go down, like I think it's after D. I want to say D starts it, E and F. Those people, the ones that are on death row, because there's some seg back there, they're on the most restriction you can be on. I'm talking about these dudes, they set fires, they dash the laws. So like the food slot tray, they'll have a box over the food slot tray to where they can, I think it opens up. They opens up the top and they put their food down there and they shut it. Like those dudes will be in there without even a mattress, bro. That shit's illegal. Like they'll be down there with nothing, a pair of thin ass boxers, and they keep it cold as back there. So as far as like air conditioning in prisons, on death row, there's air conditioning. It's cold back there. I don't know how they got air conditioning, but they got it. So when they would give those socks, you could charge $25 a stamp for the socks.
What's a sock?
It's like the long, they give you gray, like a tube sock that comes up to here. They can stretch out, so they stretch it full of food. And the door, when it pops off, there's like a square right here. So like when it pops off on the track, you can stuff shit out the square. So the laws have to let you traffic and trade. Like you could obviously probably sneak it around them, but so when you clean the pod, this is how it goes. So when you go on the pod, you got the SSIs, which are the porters and the shower crew guys. So like say I'm working 2-row, I'm pushing on 2-row, you'll be behind me with your back to me with the mop, and you'll be mopping as I go. So you're not like milking it and hanging out and shit like that, and the shower crew guy is cleaning a little small ass shower. The shower is probably as wide as me with a little bit over. So if a guy's gonna pass a sock, he's gotta holler at you real quick, but me, because how I conducted my business, whatever officer I was working with, I would ask them when the shift started, I'd be like, hey, are you cool if I move some socks? And they'd be like, yeah, I ain't tripping. So when I come through, they'd be like, look out, Temple, hey, Temple, what's up? You got me? And I'd be like, yeah, shoot the shit out there. But I never charged them. And the reason why I didn't charge them is because they're shooting it to somebody who's on restriction. The dude's already on death row. I'm not charging you. And because I did that so much, when I would come on the pod, man, dudes would just chunk me. All of a sudden, poof, a whole roll of stamps out there. You're talking about 300, 400, 500 stamps.
From the death row cells.
From the death row inmates. They would shoot them out to me because I took care of them. And then on top of that, their socks always made it. So there would be dudes like my coworker who would jack dudes for their socks. And he would lie and be like, man, the law, I had to dump the sock, man. They fell on me. So like one time I was coming through and I was cleaning and I'm on the mop. So you remember my homeboy E&J I told you about, the dude that got off of death row because he had got put on when he's like 16 or whatever. So I come through, and every night I came through, he had food ready for me, and the laws would let me eat food. And he was a stupid, cool inmate, so the laws f***ed him because he never caused no problems. So he'd be like, look out, Damu, I got some tacos made for us. And he'd always have his cell lit up and all red and shit. So they'd pop the bean chute, he'd kick some tacos out, we'd eat some tacos, the officer would eat some tacos, and we'd chop it up. So he's like, hey, bro. I'm like, what's up? And he was like, that fool from H-Town. What's up with that fool in them socks, bro? Them socks just keep coming up missing too much, and for some reason, your socks keep making it. And I looked at him, and I was like, I'm not trying to be put like in no crossfire or nothing like that. And I was like, what you think is happening? What's your first mind tell you? He's like, he's jacking. I said, you got your answer. I kept mobbing. So the dude that he burned a couple times, he comes through and he comes through and he's a TS cat. And he's like, look out, Temple. I'm like, what's up, baby? And he shoots out a bunch of, so they sell these King Leo. You can find them at some stores. They're aligned with the Crown. King Leo mint sticks. They got those, and they got the fruit sticks, which are like rainbow colored, kind of like a candy cane, but they're thick. He just shoot out a bunch of mint sticks and fruit sticks for me. And I pick them up and put them in my back pocket. He's like, Jay Temple. I'm like, what's up? He's like, and he, I'm just going to say it for the interview. So he's like, that Mayate stealing my socks. And I was like, what's your first mind tell you? He's like, that's all I need to know, bro. I appreciate it. I'm like, yes, sir. And just kept it pumping. Man, dog, we make it down to D-Pod. And as soon as we make it down to D-Pod, the one dude cell who's always lit up shoots him with the spear for jacking them socks.
He shoots the orderly.
He short shot the orderly in the neck with the spear.
How does that work? How does the spear, describe the spear and how he shoots it out of his cell?
They use the the stretchy shit out of the boxers, and they intertwine it really well. So it's like a bow and arrow string. And then you remember how I told you the magazine paper? He had that magazine paper. I'm talking about two of the T-tight. And then you either do that sugar mix I told you about, or there's probably other ways to do it. And that shit was rock hard. Rock hard. And he dipped the end of it in shit. So they had been sitting on fermented shit and shot him in the neck with that spear. And that dude, he wound up having to go to John Seeley behind that shit, but they took his job from him for it. And that was behind him stealing from those dudes back there. And
they were able to shoot it through the food slot?
No. So you remember I told you on the newer units, they have the windows. They're like two windows like this with the intertwined metal, fucking deals, like the diamonds. So he just had the spear like that and hit him with that hoe.
And so he had to go to the hospital.
Yeah, hell yeah.
He opened his neck up?
Yeah. Because I was mopping. So I'm mopping with my back to him, and all of a sudden, you just hear him, ah! I turn and I look, and I was like, I guess that's what for him stealing. That's what happens. I mean, that shit even happened to a dude from my hometown. He murdered this older woman. She was an older lady in our neighborhood on the south side. I'm gonna shoot that article to you. He murdered her, bro. She would help out anybody. People, we'd go mow her grass as kids and stuff like that. So this is like years. Have already been in prison when this happened. So he wound up going over to her house, I think, to mow her grass, and then he killed her. He stabbed her a bunch of times, stole her car, stole her jewelry. I think he went and bought some clothes at like Dillard's or some shit. So when I got back there on death row, the SSI, because he wasn't back there when I went back there as before on the shower crew, but he was back there when I was a SSI. So when I came down through there, they're like, hey, homeboy from Temple said, what's up, man? Woo. And I was all like, oh, for real? And they're like, yeah. I was like, where's he at? So that they tell me. So when I get down on his wing, I see him because his door rolls this way. I see him looking down. He's looking at me. Yeah, look out, Tim. What's up, bro? And I don't even say nothing. So by the time I get up to his cell, he's like, man, what's up, Tim? Da-da-da-da. And I'm all like, man, don't what's up me, fool. And he like had his fingers through the deal for me to like to touch his hands. I'm like, man, hell. I was like, I don't f with you, dog. I was like, you murdered that old lady. That old lady would give anybody to anything, fool. You're a piece of shit. And I was just talking real loud. I was like, you're a piece of shit, bro. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And called him out like just everybody was listening. And I was like, I can't believe you killed that innocent lady, bro. Don't nobody respect that bitch ass shit, fool. You dog. I was like, no, you ain't from no temple, fool. You're a piece of shit. Don't nobody in the hood with you no more. Because I had got letters from some of my homeboys saying what he had did. And I was like, you ain't shit, bro. You made your family look bad. You made your brother look bad. You're low life ass. And I don't know if it was because I said this and called him out like that. I don't know what was up. I don't know if it was because I had built such a good rapport with people back there because of me trafficking, trading socks for free and like always taking care of people, like, you know, making sure shit was legit and stuff like that. It even goes deeper than that. So I know when I wasn't on shift, he got speared. Wow. And I heard he got speared for doing that murder on that lady. And then he was even dashed a couple times with piss and shit as well. And I don't know if it was because of me, but I mean, like it went further than that. Like, so on death row, they prepare their food, they cook all the food, right? And they put them in those metal like container things. And then they go and put them on the line where there's like heat under there and it's supposed to be water and keeps them hot. So they'll prepare their food there, but then they'll put it in these hot carts and they'll traffic it to death row. And then they have like a little kitchen set up there and they'll set all the food up on the line there. And then they'll make their food there. Well, there's dudes back there like Muslims and shit like that. Like, so there's certain laws that food safety health code laws that the system has to follow that they don't follow. But for some reason on death row, because I think they have so much outside support, like I told you, those people, those organizations send those dudes big money. Like, bro, like every death row inmate that I've with personally, they all had like $40,000, $50,000 on their books. Like they got crazy money. So like they have these things called grievances. When they write their grievances get investigated because they got lawyers that they can go to. So like there's certain like Muslims back there and shit, like you're not allowed to touch their food unless you're a Muslim. Because then that Muslim prays. So that's the rule, right? He prays, he does wudu. They know he's going to be clean. He's not, only a Muslim can touch that dude's food. Well, when I worked, I made sure that was happening. Mm. I made sure that the Muslims only touched his food and that the Muslims only served his food. And when I wasn't on shift, Muslims knew that policy wasn't being followed. But I would put myself in the crosshairs for those dudes back there because I don't know, I'm just built differently.
So you're making money through stamps.
Yeah.
You're bringing commissary food, putting them in socks and dumping them off to the inmates on death row. Is that because they are not allowed to get commissary? The
ones that are getting like socks sent to them, it's because they're on commissary restriction. It's not because they don't have money. They got money.
So but nobody on death row can get commissary?
No, they can get commissary.
So why would a death row inmates be on restriction?
For national law or maybe just the law with him. It depends on what he did. He either did something or maybe the laws with them and he didn't, want to abide by their rule or whatever. And they put him on commissary restriction for whatever.
So stamps, like in the feds, stamps are the main currency. Does that sound like the same in Texas?
Yeah, I mean, they're still currency down there now, but I think the reason why they were good currency when the first time I was in prison is because you could send stamps home and then your people could go to the post office or somewhere and turn them in and get the cash for them. But I heard now that the stamps have to be on like the book. Like it can't be like individual stamps. That's what I heard. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I heard. But I know when I was in there the first time, I had so many goddamn stamps that when I would get visits, I would put them hoes in my mouth. And when I'd come to visit, I'd spit them hoes out and put them in like a bag of chips or something like that. And my mom would get them out. My mom would go and cash them hoes in.
So you were eating off this little trade.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And I didn't even charge anybody to move the socks. I didn't charge. I did it for free. If the law said I could do it, I did it for free. And they would give me like all, any free food. Man, I got fed on every pod that I ate on. Bro, what's even crazy about that death row job is the lady that wrote me that bogus case and got me sent to G-Pod, the lieutenant that investigated that case, when I went back there and worked, he was the captain back there. And as soon as he saw me, and this had been some couple years now, as soon as he saw me, he said, "Oh, no, hell no, you ain't working back here." He f***ed me over. He let that bogus case fly. And I was like, "Man, come on, bro, quit tripping, dog." And he's like, "Man, come holler at me real quick." But I don't know if you remember when I had told you before in the first podcast, like when I had went to closed custody and then I came all the way back to minimum custody, I had like a lot of respect from the laws because I stayed who I was all the way down there. I stayed with the blacks, stayed who I was. I didn't switch up. I wasn't a hoe, nothing like that. So he pulled me in his office and he was like, "What's up? You gonna cause some problems back here?" I said, "Bro, come on, dog." I was like, "You smoked me on a bogus ass case." And he started laughing. He's like, "Are we cool?" I'm like, "Yeah, we're cool. I ain't tripping." I was like, "Just let me keep my job, bro." And he's like, "All right." He's like, "I'm gonna let you do like what you want to do, but like no drugs or nothing, but you can move commissary. I'll give you the okay with my officer and everything else." And I was like, "All right, bet." So he really gave me the pass to even be able to move back there. And then what's crazy, because I kept that job until I made parole and went home. On my Friday, which was his Friday, he brought me in free world food every Friday, and I went in his office after my shift was over, and I ate either Burger King or McDonald's or Subway or whatever. Like they would throw Christmas parties, Thanksgiving parties, birthday parties. He would always cut me off a big ass piece of cake or any of the turkey, because death row, like they basically abided by their own rules back there. So they had like a different way they could do things. They really could get away with a lot more shit than what the GP laws could get away with. So like after we got done cleaning, they would send everybody home except for a choice few inmates. And I was one of the ones that they let stay back there because I would go help in the kitchen. That's how I was able to help with breakfast and make sure that nobody that a Muslim handled those dudes' food, or it was me that handled their food. And they know that I with them, because the thing about like blacks in prison is the thing about blacks and essays too. And you didn't see this with the whites. If there was like a racial riot, all that like Tango Blast, Mexicles, whatever, all that shit went away. If it was a race riot, all the essays got down. Just like with the blacks. If it was a race riot, you might see maybe some Muslims don't get involved or whatever, I guess. But if it's a race riot, all the blacks are getting involved. So with me being in a black gang, if a Muslim wasn't on shift in that kitchen and I made that dude's tray, I would put like a little sticky thing on there so they knew that I made their tray, so they knew that somebody safe was making their tray.
So it wasn't poisoned or anything like that?
Because they did do shit like that.
You heard about inmates poisoning people's food?
Yeah, putting rats in their food, doing all types of shady ass shit to their food, especially the Muslims, because Muslims they write those grievances, dude. Like they're writ writers. Like Muslims are extremely disciplined in prison, and I'm sure that's probably anywhere you go in the United States. They read, they study, and they sharpen their intellect as much as possible. I mean, there's some dumb Muslims in there. Obviously, there's some stew heads, but the majority of them, in my experience, they're on top of their game intellectually.
So were there quite a few Muslims on death row?
Yeah, there was a few on there. I don't know if they were free world Muslims, but like Muslim converts, like, in prison. Yeah, there was a few on there.
Do they actually get drugs? Not you, but people in your similar position working on death row. Would they get drugs or tobacco to death row inmates?
Hell yeah. Yeah, them dudes are going to get up back there if they can get it. If they can get up, yeah, they're going to get up.
Do you have to have cooperation from the guards to be able to get them food, contraband, drugs, tobacco, etc.? Or is there a way for orderlies to actually smuggle in, keister in shit?
You can keister in. You can, because they strip you in going in and going out.
Every time.
Every time. And then, like, right before I left, they started making you sit on a thing that would, like, x-ray you. But that was if they wanted to do it. Half the time when you would go behind the thing to strip out, you would just start taking your shit off, and they'd be like, man, get your clothes back on. Like, they wouldn't even f with you because they're just lazy. They wouldn't give a f. So it isn't hard to get around laws to make something happen. But at the same time, like, everybody wanted to work, I think it was like A card, because A1, I think it was like A1 and A2 card. So everybody wanted to work on A1 card because the guards there were cool as f and let them do whatever they wanted. And then the A2 card was the police card, which was the card I worked on. But I actually liked working around police, the ones that were police, because the thing about the guards that are police, they respect what is called a convict. An inmate who's quiet, they know you're up to something, but you're not putting it on Front Street. You're still doing your job. Like, I cleaned really well. I did my job really well. If they said, hey, Greisheimer, I need you to go take care of this, I'd be like, yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. I showed them respect. I didn't talk bad to them. They asked me to do something, I did it. You know, go here, go there. Yeah, I got you, bro. Let's take care of it. And I took care of business. Like, I really cleaned because, like, they get those inspections. So, like, TDC, when they know that I forget what those people are called, ACA. When ACA comes in to inspect, all of a sudden they want to do all this pristine cleaning to pass inspection, even though they never pass, but somehow they stay running. Death row is always pristine. So, like, I always was on top of my game when it came to, you know, sweeping, mopping, waxing the floor, shining the brass. Like, I did my job to a T. So if you do your job to a T, then the guards, they don't get no flack from the rank. It's because you're making them look good. So now I'm making you look good. So now in return, hey, bro, you up if I pass some socks today to make me a little money. Man, Tim, go ahead, do your thing. I don't give a bro. You still gonna clean, right? I got you. Come on. You know what's up with me. All right, yeah, bitch, woo, you play with them. Come on, pussy ass motherfucker, you know, shit like that. And so to me, having the police laws around me and giving me the okay to do something was better than the friendly laws, because there was always heat on that card because the rank knew what they were doing. So say all of a sudden the rank would just show up on the pod because they'd do this. While you were mid-cleaning, the rank would come down there. Hey, all y'all come down here. Get out of them. Make everybody strip down, and they would bust with shit. So the police card, you didn't have that type of heat because they knew that those laws weren't allowing shit to go on. And if they did, they knew it was heavily scrutinized. So yeah, you can get shit in you can get shit around the motherfuckers all day long. But, you know, to me, it's just better to grease the wheels if you can grease the wheels.
Okay, so how many inmates total on death row when you were working?
I don't know. Honestly, I think Polunsky was a 2,500 man unit, and I think death row made it the 3,500 or 3,250. So I think it was like 1,000 or some shit. I mean, what, you got A through F pod and then A through F sections. So I think that's 6, right? A, B, C, D, E, F. And then is it 4 or 5 cells to each section, top and bottom? So I think it's 10 cells to a section. So that's what, 60 cells to a pod. And then you got 6 pods. So what is that, 1,200 or something like that?
Mm-hmm. Wow. So there's 1,000 plus inmates waiting to be executed in Texas at any given time.
Yeah. Yeah. And then like F section on A pod, those were the guys who had their dates. And then there was a ritual with those guys the week that they were going to be executed, or it was the week or the day they were getting executed, the day before. They got they let them, they open up the books for Commissary for them to do whatever they want. And they would, I don't know if they still do this, but they would buy everybody back there a pint of ice cream, even the laws. And everybody would eat a pint of ice cream back there. They'd find out how many people were back there, and they would buy a pint of ice cream for everybody. And they would bring they would make sure a Bluebell truck came, because that was like a ritual back there.
The week that they were set to be executed.
Yeah, it was like the day before or something like that. They would do the whole Bluebell ice cream thing, and everybody would get a pint of ice cream that wanted one.
And how many people on that A wing that had actual dates, execution dates?
It wasn't a lot at first, but then it was never filled up. I think the most I ever seen back there was like 5 or 6.
And how far in advance would the dates be, would you hear?
I think it would be like within the month, for sure. Within the month, a couple weeks, and they would be back there. And I can speak to that, that emotion too. Like, it would, like, a couple of guys that I was cool with that got executed back there, they were all lively and shit. And then, like, when they got their date and they were back there, they weren't even the same anymore. Half of them wouldn't even talk sometimes. You'd come by, they'd shut their light off because they didn't want to talk to you. Like, that's how much they changed that quick. And when I'm talking about lively, I'm talking about, what's up, bro? Working out like they weren't gonna die. Like, living like tomorrow was guaranteed, like a date wasn't gonna come. Because you got to realize, before George Bush Jr. became governor, was living on death row they weren't killing inmates like that. But he put like a fast track system in. These were killing. I think they made it to where their appeals got exhausted extremely quick. So dudes would run through all their appeals within a year or 2 years and would be dead within 4 years of being on death row, if even that. That's how fast he made it to where they were killing. They were killing quick back there.
And did you hear about working with all these inmates? Did you get to know about people's cases, like the reason that they got sent to death row?
Not too much, bro. I didn't really want to cross those lines with people, because those dudes on death row, you really don't just get to ride with them like that. It depends. It really depends if the cops are being stupid cool. Like when me and E and J would make food, me and E and J would talk. Like, and he told me about when he shot the fool and killed the fool. Like, I talked to him about his story.
Can you tell us his story?
I think he murdered a dude in the mall, if I'm not mistaken, coming down the escalator. Because Fort Worth was like the murder capital of the United States at one point in time. They called it Murder Worth. And I think he was a Stop 6, which, like a neighborhood said, I want to say he was Stop 6 blood. And I want to say, like, every time you would go to the mall back then, there would be shootings back in the 90s. Like, you can look the shit up. 90s was getting killed for starter jackets, killed for Jordans. Like that's like that. It was back then. That's how it was. So when you went to the mall, it was dangerous. You know, if you were, in those gang areas. And I want to say that's what he either smoked them on the escalator or coming down the stairs. But I know he told me, like, when he shot him with the shotgun, I want to say it was a sawed-off shotgun. He said he had it in his jacket, and he popped that bitch out. And he said he hit that fool. He said his whole chest just like exploded. I mean, he was guilty for what he did. The only reason why he got off death row was because he was like 16 or something, and they changed the law, so they had to let him off, and he got a life sentence.
So what do you think the benchmark is, if any, between inmates who get life, or basically life, hundreds of years on a murder case, versus inmates who get sent to death row for murder cases?
What do you mean by benchmark? Like, what's the difference?
Yeah, like, do you see any difference in people's cases between ones who go in on life sentences for murder versus ones that are given the death penalty for murders?
Well, as far as I know in Texas, as far as by the law, the only thing that's going to put you on death row usually is a capital murder case. Because capital murder carries the death sentence, where a regular first-degree murder doesn't carry the death sentence. So most of the dudes on death row, how they got those capital murder cases was obviously a robbery turned homicide is capital murder. I think it's like extenuating circumstances, like if you tied them up or something, because that's kidnapping. And then there was dudes on death row, you know what I'm saying? Like my boy Saul, man, like he was back there for killing inmates in prison. I think he killed like 5 inmates in prison. And it was like the last one they got him for that put him on death row. Cause I want to say he got like 3 or 4 life sentences for the other inmates he killed. And then the last one he killed, they gave him the death sentence. So that like enhanced his thing.
I see.
If that answers your question.
Yeah. So basically, if you commit another felony in the course of committing a first-degree murder, that's what elevates it to a capital murder case.
Yeah. That's how they can probably ask for the death sentence. I think that's how that works here in Texas.
Did you see any or get to know any death row inmates where you were like, oh, this guy's obviously a psychopath out of his mind? Or did everybody seem kind of like normal to the extent that, you know, a person serving time for murder could be normal?
Everybody I met back there was normal. Everybody. Not one person I met back there wasn't normal. Now, there was a guy back there who used to like yell Bible verses every night. This black dude. But I think just being back there bro, like being confined to a cell like that. I told you even on closed custody, like I used to do crazy shit. I mean, you're sitting in this little cell all day long, bro. There's only so many books you and jacking off, and there's only so much fairy tale land you can live in before you're the hard set of you. This is what you're looking at. Like, so like that takes the strongest of human beings to even stay what is even sane and stay what is quote unquote even normal in those type of conditions. On top of that, you know that you're going to die. So you know your fate is for sure sealed if you don't win these appeals. And so but even when he wasn't yelling of Bible verses, me and him used to talk one-on-one when we come through. He'd be like, what's up, Temp? I'm like, hey, what's up, baby? Oh, man, shit, nothing, just chilling, man. I'd be like, what's up? You ain't yelling no Bible verses tonight, fool? He'd be like, oh, man, I'm going to let y'all make it tonight. And he could change into a normal person. So, like, everybody in my experience, quote unquote, was normal. You know, I mean, even my dude Deuce beat his case. I knew Deuce when he was on death row. We didn't talk, but I knew who he was. And then when I went back to the penitentiary and I got out and I went to the program, Deuce was in the program with me. He was on a Netflix series, I think, I'm on that Netflix series, I Am a Killer or something like that. So he got out. He did like almost 40 years in the joint total.
How did he beat his case?
I think it was the DNA evidence or something. I can't remember. I could always hit him up and find out, but
so he was innocent.
Yeah, he was innocent. He got out. He's on the streets. He got off of death row, and I think he got a life sentence, and then he beat the life sentence and got his shit dropped down, and he made parole and got out. I think he only had like a few years left on parole or some shit. I could always hit him and talk to him, but I mean, I remember when we had got to the program together, the Carol Vance program, and he saw me and I saw him. I was like, damn, I know that. And then he was like, man, you Tim? I was like, yeah. He's like, from Temple? I was like, yeah. He's like, you used to be on Polunsky, right? I said, yeah. He's like, didn't you work on death row? I was like, yeah. He's like, you don't remember me? I was like, I remember your face, bro. And he's like, yeah. And I was like, damn. I was like, you got off of death row. Another dude named Dre from Houston. He got off of death row and got his shit commuted to 99 years. And then they actually put him on. He came to medium custody with me on iPod. And then I think he got his shit dropped down. He got a time cut. So that's the thing about Texas. I don't know if it's still like this. So they would give out all this big ass time back in the game, right? 300 years, whatever, all this stacked time. And then after you did like 10, 15 years, you can apply for a time cut. Like You might not beat your appeals, but you could apply for a time cut and they would give it to you. So I think he had got the 99 years, and I think he got it commuted to like 60 or something like that. And he had already been locked up like over 20. So anything before 96, like if you got a life sentence before September of 1996, you only had to do 15 years before you saw parole. So he even made parole on his case and got out on the streets because he was under the old law. So that's two people I know that were on death row that actually got off and got in the system and then made it home.
Wow. Imagine going from I'm probably going to be executed by lethal injection to I'm in population, GP, to, oh, wow, now I'm back home. I'm in society again. You would never take shit for granted after that.
I don't think that you do. I mean, I know that as far as I know that, I know at least in the system, I know that Dre and Deuce had became like hardcore Christians. They were hardcore Christians. Like Deuce is a hardcore Christian right now, still to this day. I mean, we're friends on Facebook and Instagram. He's always in church.
How many inmates were black versus Mexican versus white? Did you see more, a disproportionate amount of a certain race on death row?
Man, I didn't really pay attention to that, but I want it. If I'm not mistaken, there was more white boys and blacks on death row with free world cases. If I'm not mistaken, at least the Mexican dudes that I talked to on a regular, they were on death row for killing people in prison. So most of the dudes that were back there that I can remember just thinking right off top, the majority of the dudes that were back there on death row from the free world were white and black. The few Hispanics that were back there, I don't remember a lot of Hispanics being back there like that. But the ones that I know that I've with, they were back there for killing dudes in prison.
And that would make sense because you told us that they were the ones putting in the knife work.
Yeah, they were putting in the knife work like a... For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because back in the old days in Texas, you could kill somebody and they might give you 10, 15 years. But then like them ABT cats and AC cats and then the TS and Mexican Mafia, they were killing so much back in the 80s and 90s. Eventually, you know, people got tired of the shit, you know, and they started giving them life sentences and then they're giving them, you know, death sentences and stuff like that for it.
You said in Polanski, besides the death row unit, there's also, that's where the segregation is. That's where seg inmates are.
Yeah, they have seg there on the same building.
So tell us about seg. How big is it? Is it mostly, I've heard it's mostly shot callers now, you know, high ranking dudes from all of those sets.
Yeah.
Tell us about what that's like.
Well, I think the majority of them are probably like on Gib Lewis, what they call like high security. Like that's what they'll call it. They have that's where they ship most of like the seg that get seg. I think the majority of them are probably like on Gib Lewis seg. Every unit has like a segregation, like 11 building PhD pre-hearing detention. They have seg back there. Now that doesn't mean you're going to stay there. Just like on Polanski, you got seg on death row on F-pod. I think some might have been on E-pod, but it was, a lot of the times they didn't stay there. They got shipped off to Gib Lewis or to like Darrington or Coalfield. I think Coalfield has a decent size seg, but if I'm not mistaken, Gib Lewis has the biggest seg. And they lived the same way that death row guys lived. It was the same cell, same bullshit wreck, no TV, no nothing. The exact same conditions. The exact same conditions.
And did you spend time in seg yourself?
No, I mean I did like PhD time and shit. It was extremely hard to get segged up when I was in prison. So I mean I did time in PhD, like pre-hearing detention and stuff like that, for fighting my cellies, like a couple of cellies I got into fights with and stuff like that. Like not all of them I talked about. And they take you to lockup. They took both of us to lockup and, you know, you sit back there a week or 2 weeks, whatever, 10 days. And then they let you out and then you go wherever the you go after that. But I never did no seg time. I mean, the closest thing I did to seg was closed custody.
Oh, so you got to be a pretty rowdy to actually go to seg. You're not just gonna get sent there for a fist fight.
No, hell no. You're gonna be sent there for staff on, dude. So when I was in prison the first time, like I said, it was real, like realistic. Where now they'll lock the pod down for 3 days for a one-on-one fight. Like they do that shit on purpose because they know if you fight, me and you fight over a dumbass football game, we done got the pod locked down. And then what's crazy is they'll keep you in there. So they won't even take you to lockup. They'll keep you in there. So then when they come off on lockdown, now you got all these other inmates ready to y'all up because you done got the goddamn pod locked down over 2 soups or some shit. So now basically they're making it to where it's creating more drama. I see the psychology behind it. But back then, I think you might be able to get the seg a little bit easier these days. Maybe, I'm not for sure, but because it's softer. But I know back in when I was locked up the first time, I seen him hit him with a boiling hot pot water and go to closed custody and not even get segged up. He hit him with baby oil. So we have like the hot pots. They call them hot pots. They're clear now. They look like a pitcher, like a tea kettle pitcher, like tall like that. So you can get the bottom, when you get the bottom taken off, it has this bullshit screw. It used to have a real screw, but it has like this bullshit screw, but so creative they can get that screw off. So then the heating mechanism, you can rig it to where the hot pot boils. So it's not just hot water, it'll boil. So there was a white dude who came in. He had, I think, like 3 or 5 years. He walked in, like, no lie, this is like some straight up movie shit. He came in, put his stuff off the pod, put his stuff in his cell, came out, walked over to this Crip dude, was sliced up. He had his shirt off, just standing there. He walked up to him and I guess like told him, hey, I'll pay you whatever a week or each store day because I'm just trying to go home. And he had like 3 or 5 years, bro. So the Crip dude was like, bet. So the Crip dude just like, and this Crip dude was a crash dummy. He was a loser. You could give him a kilo of cocaine and he'd f it off and make he was just a off artist. His own homies didn't even like him, bro. Like he was a gambling junkie. If they gave him like hygiene or anything, they would take the when you buy a new deodorant and you pull the top off, there's that plastic there. They'd take that plastic off and put it under their underarms and give it to him because he would go and sell it or something so he could gamble. He was one of those type of dudes. Never had nothing, bum ass. So he lucked up on this white boy and the white boy starts paying him. The white boy from Dallas. And his dad was like, he was really from Philly because I got cool with him because he was stupid cool. So, but his dad was like some type of big ass banker, but he had money and I remember he was a Jew and I used to with him because he was a Jew and shit like that. I used to just joke with him and shit, but he was cool. So anyways, long story short, he was on the pod maybe about 90 days. This black dude used to punk him. He'd grab his mail, start reading his mail, all this type of shit. So one day, Tom was sitting at the table playing chess. And the black dude, this is why I say it like it's like a movie, because you couldn't get no weirder than this. He comes over to him. He had already been threatening him like the past week that he was going to start selling them, like letting dudes like bone him and shit. He came over and put his dick on his shoulder. And I remember my homeboy who was a Crip, we used to sit on the wall and talk a lot. I was like, bro, you need to say something to that fool, dog. Like he letting him handle that dude like that, like that's stupid. That dude's good money. He's going to wind up catching out. Because at this time, PREA had already became effect, so you could try to catch out. So if you got caught extorting somebody, they could give you some time. Like my homeboy from Dallas, they gave him 99 years for extorting a dude for prostituting him. That dude went and said he got raped. They did the rape kit. They found DNA in him. And they gave him 99 years in Polk County for selling that dude. So anyways, he put his dick on this dude's shoulder and the dude was like, man, what the Tom? Bro, this guy's so stupid. he just walked off like nothing even happened, didn't even pay attention. This is what I was trying to tell you, like the psychology of people. Like some people aren't built to fight. Some people are only built to kill. Some people are, only built to fight. They're not built to kill. This dude wanted to pay protection because he knew what he was about to do. This goes in his cell because he gets his door popped, because I told you get your door popped easy over there.
Tom?
Tom goes in his cell. This guy's not even paying attention. He goes over to the domino table and starts playing dominoes. This goes into his cell, puts the towel up on the door, fills the hot pot up with baby oil, magic shave, which magic shave is like what black people use. They put it on their hair because they get razor bumps, and it like burns the skin. It makes this stinky ass smell, and then they like scratch it off, and it just pulls off all the hair on their face. So he put magic shave and baby oil in the hot pot and brought it to a boil. Left his door open the whole time because he told the law when she hit the button, she's like, what's up? He's like, hey, can you pop my cell? Can I use the restroom? He's like, I'm going to leave it open because I'm going to come back out. He's like, I just got to take a crap. And she's like, yeah, do your thing. He goes in there, pops his shit. This dude's a horse jockey. This is how big he is. He's like 90 pounds, 5'2", little skinny ass white boy. Like he could have been a horse jockey. That's why I used to put him up. I was like, man, you should have been a horse jockey, bro. This comes out. So me and my homeboy Joe, who's out now, we're sitting on the wall and we're talking. And I said, bro, I saw the look in that dude's face. I saw the blankness in his eyes, bro. And I looked, I said, man, that fool's about to do something. And he's like, let's watch that. So we're sitting on the floor on the wall where the vent is. They had sold these big ass bags. They called it penny candy. They were kind of soft on the inside. So we're eating penny candy, and we had just got done smoking a joint. So we're sitting there all blowed and shit, eating penny candy, drinking coffee, and we're looking. He's in 2-row, goes in his cell. When he comes out, I see the black cord wrapped around his arm, and he's got his towel dripped over his arm. And I was like, oh, that fool got the goddamn hot pot, bro. Homeboy sitting there playing dominoes. He's holding his dominoes like this. He's got his back to us. This fool comes down the stairs, bro. Comes down the whole time. He walks straight past him. This dumb not even paying attention. As he comes around him like this, he takes the towel off his arm and comes around and just hook shot him straight in the face. Boom! Blasted at him. And the fool had his shirt on. This jumps up like sounds like the Wicked Witch of the goddamn West. He was like, Rah! Takes off running, rips his shirt off. When he rips his shirt off, because all that shit went down his shirt, it pulled off all his skin. He just saw pink, red flesh. When he grabbed his face, he pulled skin off his face. And Tom was just walking around the day room. I told you, don't with me. I just want to go home. I'll kill you. He's just going ballistic. And I was like, fool. And then Tom went over there and started hitting the button. And that dude's running around the day room. His homies are grabbing him, trying to calm him down. And he's saying on the pod, get me up out this before I kill him. And then he went to lock up. He was gone for a minute. And then I thought they shipped him. And then one day I was going over to the infirmary to fall out of place to holler at my homeboy on medium custody, because the infirmary, you can link up with people in the infirmary and chop it up. So that's a good spot to link up with people. You got a homie on medium custody, hey, or maybe you trying to shoot him something. You guys will fill out I-60s, the infirmary, to try to meet up in the infirmary at the same day so you can make something happen. So I was in the infirmary out of place, and then I seen them bring Tom in from closed custody, because everywhere would they take you, they have to escort you. So the dude's got his hand behind his back and the guard's got the goddamn stick and shit. And they bring him in, and we're sitting in the infirmary, and I look and I see Tom come in. I'm like, damn, Tom, what's up, baby? He's like, what's up, Tim? I was like, you all good? He's like, hell yeah, I'm good. And I was like, ain't nobody with you down there? He said, fuck no, ain't nobody with me. He's like, shit, they better not with me. He's like, I'll fucking turn this 5 into a 99. So I guess they didn't even give him any more time. But that's the type of shit I'm talking about. Oh, and I forgot to say, you remember how you would talk about chow? You always heard chow was no man's land. And Texas prison, church is no man's land, because that's where all the gangs meet up to talk.
So that's neutral.
That's neutral.
You don't
grounds.
make anything pop off.
Yeah, so nothing will pop off. Even if there's some type of gang tension, racial tension, gang, even other gangs, they'll go to church to talk out and maybe hash some shit out. So church is neutral grounds in prison. I thought about that yesterday, so I figured I would tell you that.
So this kid Tom was being harassed so bad by this guy, this knucklehead, that he just scarred him permanently with scalding hot water and lotion and baby oil.
Yeah.
And the laws didn't even charge him.
Didn't charge him. Now, that dude was shipped off. That dude, I never saw him again. When they took him to medical, maybe his burns were so bad, they just put him on a medical unit because he probably had to go back to the hospital several times. No, there's no telling. But
do you think something like that could give somebody third-degree burns?
Baby oil and Magic Shave already burns. So like when black dudes, they put it on, it just stinks because it's burning the hairs. It's like pulling out the follicles and shit, I guess. You know what I'm saying? It's like that Nair shit for women. Women can put Nair on and then they just wash the hair off. It burns it off. And then you're talking about boiling baby oil and launching that on somebody's skin. Dude, man, he probably got third degree. Whatever the worst burns are is probably what he got. Because I'm talking about when he ripped his shirt off, you should have seen all this flesh rip off his back. Like, dude.
To your knowledge, did anybody ever mess with Tom again?
Hell no, not that I know about. I mean, he said he was good on close custody. I'm sure he was.
Last question. You've been home a few years now. How has death row and conditions inside Texas prisons, how has it changed, if at all?
It's gotten worse. It's gotten worse. They're with the water, the food, the cleanliness of the environment, the heat. It's gotten worse. Like Texas used to be like self-sufficient. They fed their inmates. Like when I went to prison the first time, they fed good, bro. But then right before I had got to prison, it had just ended. I'll look this shit up and send it to you. This is how up these are, bro. They were getting, it's a horse feed substitute called VitaPro. They got caught with all this VitaPro. This shit had happened in like 98, 99, but I think it was going on longer than that. They were mixing it stretches food. They figured out it could stretch food. So they were putting a horse vitamin or a horse something in the food, feeding it to inmates in the beef. And they said it had this strong ass stench. And they said it was making inmates walk around with looking like Ethiopians with big ass pot bellies. And it was killing inmates. And they got in a bunch of trouble for that shit. I missed that era. I want to say they all got popped in like 98, 99, but it was still talked about heavily when I got there, the whole VitaPro scandal. So when I got there, they fed good. Like every lunch was a dessert. You got hooked up on the tray. Dude, it was fed stupid good. Now down there, bro, they don't feed worth the like commissary is necessary. Like those trays, those slots on the tray that are all supposed to be filled up, they're not. You'll go down there and they call it a meat rock. It's a ball of meat with some rice in it and maybe some carrots for lunch. And that's it. Like the laws are stealing everything. Like I was at Torres unit and there's a grocery store here in Texas called HEB. So HEB donates a lot of food to the prisons in the San Antonio era. So we'd get a HEB diesel truck every week full of cakes, pastries, ice cream, cheese, all types of shit. The kitchen commissary lady, when it was coming in the front door, it was going out or when it was coming in the back door, it was going out the front. They were selling that shit out on the streets and weren't even giving it to us. They were selling all of that free world shit that HEB was donating to us. Like just the whole thing is up, bro. Like, and they expect people to come home. And the thing is everybody on the outside thinks that it's going good in there. And they're taxing the taxpayer all this money. They're teaching the exact same classes, like this class called Changes you take to like try to make look good and go to parole. Like they're teaching the same stuff in Changes now that they were teaching in 2000 when I went there. Like they don't even update the information. And then they, like when I went to prison the first time, used to have a case manager, but that's because it was called TDC, Texas Department of Corrections. That's why you have to pay attention to wording, bro, in the legal world. So when it said Texas Department of Corrections, that means legally by law, they had to correct you. So like you had to go work or go to school. You had to change. You had a caseworker that saw you usually every month or every 90 days. Hey, how you doing? Well, have you tried this? Have you done that? Hey, how about we put you in school? Oh, they test your IQ. You need to take it. You got your GED? I do, yeah. Well, you need schooling because your IQ is pretty low. We need to get you, this is how you're going to succeed in the world. They don't have none of that no more because now it's called TDCJ, Texas Department of Criminal Justice. So now all they got to do is house you. They don't care about educating you. They don't care about trade. They don't care. It's just a joke. And the taxpayers are the ones footing the bill. And they think that it's all going to help people, and it's not. They're cutting the water off. I can send you all the articles when I leave here. I'll do it so you can post it where there's no water. Inmates are dying damn near every day, and they're saying it's K2, that the K2's killing them. Like, come up dead every day. There's no ACs. The laws are on the lawsuits for the ACs. The food is like horrible. It's unexplainable conditions, dude, for a first world country for that type of behavior. And you don't change people with that type of behavior. You only make them worse. You make a person worse with that type of condition. If they already come from nothing, and you expect them to change, then why are you making them live like that? Dude, it's so hot in there, bro. Like literally, especially on the red bricks. Like I did it because I had never been on a red brick before. And that program I was at was on a red brick. We took water and because you could see the steam coming off the red brick because those clays, it's like a clay brick oven. It holds heat really well. You could see steam coming off the wall. We threw water on that bitch and it sizzled. That's how hot it was. Like you could not lean up against that wall with your raw back. Come on, dog. That's like living in Africa or some shit. Like you don't treat people like that. Yeah, I mean, not if you want them to change. Dude, you got these dudes breathing in fecal matter, bro. Boils coming out of their skin. My boy Justin, he still has gastro problems. Like his stomach is stupid big, bro, from he was on, I think, McConnell, and breathing in shit for a week at a time. Them not flushing the toilet for a week at a time. Breathing in shit and piss. Like, that ain't right, dog. That ain't not, and then you're making the taxpayers pay for it. Like that, you got everybody thinking that they're living, good and they're coming home up because they're up people. It's not like that. And I'm not a prison advocate because there's dudes in there that need to be in there, but there's a lot of good dudes in prison that if they just had maybe somebody believing in them or something like that, that they would do better. I mean, even when you come home, your parole officer is supposed to help you get a job. They don't help you get no job. And I got a cool PO, but bro, like they don't help you. You come home and they give you $100. You've been locked up 10, 15 years and give you $100 and tell you good luck. And then that dude goes and robs somebody and then you make him look bad. What the you expected him to do? You didn't even offer him no goddamn system. You're taking everybody's money and you don't even offer them a way to change. And then you wonder why your society's up. So I'm going to send you I'm going to send you the shit, bro. I'll send it to you today. When I get home, I'm going to send you a bunch of shit so you can post like updated shit on how up it is. And it's not right, dog. If you got family, commissary's necessary. That's all I can tell you, bro. They're not even giving them chemicals to wash the trays, Johnny. I would go to Chow when I was there, bro. In the trays, you would just see like oil. If you just say like you rub some grease right here and drop water on it, how you can see the film and you see the water beat it up on top of it. That's what the trays are like because the officers are taking the bleach and the DWC home with them to their house and not even giving it to the inmates. That's how scandalous it is. And it's full of Rats running everywhere. You gotta take a piece of something like maybe a flip flop if you can get one and cut it, because like when you have the locker that goes, so the piece of steel that comes out, you put the lock in it, so it can the locker can open up about that much, and rats will get in your locker and steal your soups and shit. So people put stuff behind there to lock it to keep rats out of your. It's infested with rats. So TDC's a joke, dog, and that's probably a good thing, because that's one of the things that broke my criminal mind frame, was seeing how bad it had gotten, the living conditions, that I was just like, I can't. That's probably one of the reasons why I said I can't do this no more. I can't live like it's not getting better, it's getting worse, worse and worse and worse and worse and worse.